Greetings! Mantare79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days! Alrighty, let's get started. Pressing the A button now. Loading game and proceeding. Here we are in the main menu, off to edit deck menu. And now in today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is a Keter Sanctuaries, Omniscience Regalia Minerva D-BT08. And alright, let's begin. Go into the deck, selecting edit deck, and off we go. And here we are. And now, like I mentioned before, the deck I'm building in today's deck profile video is a Keter Sanctuaries, Omniscience Regalia Minerva deck, made up of cards only available up until D-BT08. Okie dokie, let's begin. So going to filter settings, and then to pack, show only cards from D-BT1, Genesis of the 5 Greats, D-BT2, Rush of the Legends, D-BT3, Advance of Intertwined Stars, D-BT4, Awakening of Chakrabarti, D-BT5, Triumphant Return of Brave Heroes, Festival Collection 2021, Festival Collection 2022, Pearl Pack number 1, D-BT6, Blazing Dragon Reborn, D-BT7, Raging Flame Against Emerald Storm, and D-BT8, Minerva Rising. Applying filters applied, let's get started. First, the Grade 3 lineup. And now, for the Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck Grade 3, Omniscience Regalia Minerva. Skills. First skill, continuous as a Vanguard. During your turn, if your soul has a Grade 3 card with Regalia in its card name, all of your front row units gets plus 5,000 power. Second skill, action as a Vanguard once per turn. Cost, Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, look at the top card of your deck, put it on top of your deck or into your soul. Third skill, auto as a Vanguard once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attacks. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, cost, Counter Blast 1 and Soul Blast 3. And discard a card with only Genesis for its clan from hand. If the cost is paid, stand this unit and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. So for Minerva, she's the main Grade 3 to ride in this deck. Her skill is the first skill. When the conditions of the first skill are met, your entire front row, including your Vanguard and Rear Guard, gets plus 5,000 power, giving you more power to work with. And the second skill, by paying the cost, you can preview the top card of your deck to either to leave it on top of your deck or to use it to build up your soul for later soul blasting. And the third skill, after attacking, when the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, you can restand your Vanguard for another attack. And alright, the Grade 3 Omniscience Regalia Minerva. We have 4 in the deck, 1 in the right deck, 3 in the main deck. Up next, the Grade 3 Regalia Wisdom Angelica. Skill, auto as a Rear Guard. At the end of battle, this unit attacked. If you have a Vanguard of Minerva in its card name, cost, Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. Then, cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, countercharge 1. So for Angelica, a support card for the Minerva deck for skill. After attacking, while the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, not only do you get to give your Vanguard a little extra power to work with, but you can also build up your soul for later soul blasting and to also refund your counterblast for later skills. Okie dokie, the Grade 3 Regalia Wisdom Angelica. We have 4 in the deck. And next, the Grade 3 Normal Order Gradia Gradel. Skills. First skill, Regulus Piece. You may only have 1 Regulus Piece in your deck and use it a total of 1 time in a fight. Second skill, Order. Play this if you have a Grade 3 Vanguard with Persona Ride and you do not ride this turn. Activate Persona Ride. Draw a card. All of your front row units get plus 10,000 power this turn and you have regarded to have Persona Road. So for Gradia Gradel, a powerful order card to play in the D standard format with its skills. By playing this order card while the conditions that are met, you can activate the Persona Ride effect, which is drawing more cards, giving your entire front row, Vanguard Rear included, a huge boost of power, and any skills that require you to have Persona Road that turn, this order card can then substitute that effect to let you activate those skills. And affirmative, the Grade 3 Gradia Gradel. We have 1 in the deck. And at that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 3 lineup. Next, let's get on to the deck's Grade 2 lineup. And now, for the Grade 2 lineup. For the Grade 2s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck Grade 2, Witch of Ravens, Chamomile. Skills. First skill, auto. When this unit is ruled upon by a unit with only Genesis for its clan, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 cards from among them, put them into your soul, and shuffle your deck. Second skill, Auto. When this card is put from soul into drop during your turn, if you have a Vanguard Minerva in this card name, cost Counterblast 1. If you cost and paid, call this card to the rearguard circle. Silver Chamomile, it's the main grade 2 to ride in this deck. Its skill's the first skill. When ridden on top of by a Genesis unit, you have the chance to check the top 5 cards to your deck to add 2 cards to add to your soul to aid in your later soul blasting. Any second skill, when moved from soul to drop zone while the conditions of the skill are met and pay the cost, you can superior call Chamomile to the rear guard to serve as a potential front row attacker. And alrighty, the grade 2, Witch of Ravens, Chamomile. We have 4 in the deck, 1 in the ride deck, 3 in the main deck. Next up, the grade 2, Drilling Angel. Skill, Auto. When this unit is placed on the rearguard circle, cost, put a unit card from drop into soul. If the cost and paid, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 card of the same card name as the card put into your soul for this cost from among them, call to rearguard and shuffle your deck. So for Drilling Angel, a pretty good grade 2 to play in your Keter Sanctionation decks with its skill. When called by paying the cost, not only do you get to refill your soul for later soul blasting, but you also have the chance to superior call another copy of the card you added to your soul to serve as a potential front row attacker, back row booster, or a rear guard whose skill you wish to take advantage of later in the game. And okie dokie, the grade 2, Drilling Angel. We have 4 in the deck. Next, the grade 2, Atrocious, Moth Girl, Maple. Skills, first skill, Auto from the drop zone. When your grade 3 or greater Vanguard is placed during ride phase, if you do not have a unit with Maple in this card name, you may call this card to the rearguard circle. If there are 2 copies of this card in drop, you may only call 1. Second skill, Glitter, Glitter Thegria. Active if your Vanguard is a Glitter with Thegria in this card name. Auto as a rear guard. At the end of battle, this unit attacked, cost, Soul Blast 1 or more cards. If the cost and paid, choose a card from your soul with the same grade as the sum of the grades of your cards you soul blasted for this cost, put into your hand, and put this unit into your soul. So for Maple, a pretty good grade 2 to play in your Keter Sanctionation decks with its skills. The first skill, while in the drop zone, when you ride a grade 3 or greater Vanguard during the ride phase, as long as the conditions of the skill are met, you can superior call Maple to the rear guard to serve as a potential front row attacker. Second skill, since the second skill is mainly used for the Thegria deck, I'm just gonna skip ahead. So affirmative, the grade 2, Atrocious, Moth Girl, Maple, we have 1 in the deck. And next, the grade 2, Normal Order, Wisdom of Beginning that cleared the world. Skill, Order, plays if it costs of, Counterblast 1. If the cost and paid, draw 2 cards, choose 2 cards from hand, call them the rear guard if the grade of each of them is less than or equal to your Vanguard, and discard them if not. So for Wisdom of Beginning that cleared the world, a pretty good order card to play in your Keter Sanctionation decks of its skill. When played, not only do you get to draw 2 cards, you can also superior call 2 new rear guards to serve as potential front row attackers and back row boosters, or a rear guard whose skill you wish to take advantage of later in the game. And alright, the grade 2, Wisdom of Beginning that cleared the world. We have 3 in the deck. And at that, we just about covered the deck grade 2 lineup. Next, let's get on to the deck's grade 1 lineup. And now for the grade 1 lineup. For the grade 1s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck, Grade 1, Witch of Frogs, Melissa. Skills, first skill, Auto. When this unit is rolled upon by a unit with only Genesis for its clan, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 cards from among them, put them into Soul, and shuffle your deck. Second skill, Auto. When this card is put into drop from Soul, if you have a Vanguard of Minerva in this card name, call this card to the back row rearguard circle. If you called it, you may Soul Charge 1. So for Melissa, she's the main grade 1 to ride in this deck. Her skills, the first skill, when ridden on top of by a Genesis unit, you can check the top 5 cards to your deck for up to 2 cards to add to your soul for later soul blasting. Second skill, when moved from soul into drop zone while the conditions of the skill are met, not only do you get to superior call Melissa as a back row booster, but you can also soul charge to build up your soul for later soul blasting. Alrighty, the great 1, Witch of Frogs, Melissa, we have 4 in the deck, 1 in the right deck, 3 in the main deck. Next up, the great 1, Aegismere Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, Auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units and cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from hand and discard it. So for Aegismere, a Perfect Guard for the Keter Sanctionation, like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard Trading Card game, it features the same skill and activation, which is, when used to guard with, discard a card from hand, you can block an enemy attack. But it also features an ability unique to all Perfect Guards in the D standard format, which is, when used to guard with, while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you have not to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Aegismere a potential no-cost Perfect Guard in desperate, last resort situations. And affirmative, the Great One, Aegis Mirror Dragon, we have 3 in the deck. Next up, the Great One, Blitz Order, Elementarius Sanctitude. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, Continuous. You may only have 1 Elementarius Sanctitude in the deck. Third skill, Order. If your opponent's Vanguard has triple drive, this ability can be played without paying the cost. Plays if a cost of, discard a card from hand if your Vanguard is grade 3 or less. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. Remove this card. So for Elementarius Sanctitude, it's the Blitz Order version of the Perfect Guard. Like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation, which is, when played, discard a card from hand, you can block an enemy attack. But ideally, Elementarius Sanctitude works best against opponents who play decks that specialize in having Vanguards of triple drive, for example, Grade 4s, G units, or Vanguards who have their drive checks increased by skill or card effect. Against such opponents, Elementarius Sanctitude then can serve as a potential no-cost Perfect Guard. And alright, the Great One, Elementarius Sanctitude, we have 1 in the deck. And next, the Great One, Apple Witch Cider. Skills, first skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a Vanguard of Minerva in its card name, you may return this card to your hand. Second skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if your soul has a grade 3 card for Regalia in its card name, this unit gives plus 5,000 shield until end of battle. So for Cider, a support card for the Minerva deck. If her skills, the first skill, after boosting attack while the conditions of her skill are met, you can return Minerva from your rear guard to your hand to serve for your later game strategy. And the second skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, Cider then can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield on her own. And confirm, the Great One, Apple Witch Cider, we have 4 in the deck. And of that, we just about covered the deck's Great One lineup. Next, let's get on to the Grade 0 lineup. And here we are in the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck Grade 0, Vivid Rabbit. Skill, auto. When this unit is ruled upon, if you went second, draw a card. So for Vivid Rabbit, it's the starting unit of this deck, and like any other starting unit in the D standard format, she features the same skill and activation, which is, when you ride on top of it, you can draw more cards. And alright, the Grade 0, Vivid Rabbit, we have 1 in the Ride deck. And of that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 0 lineup. Next, let's get on to the Trigger lineup. And now for the Trigger lineup. For the triggers in this deck, we are playing Grade 0, Light Dragon DD Honors Amritonia, Overtrigger. Skill, trigger, additional effect. Until end of turn, you also perform drive checks where the battles your rear guard's attack. So for Amritonia, the Overtrigger for the Keter Sanctuary Nation, like any other Overtrigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation, which is, when revealed during a drive check or damage check, you get 100 million power and draw 1 card. But it also features an ability unique to it alone, which is, when revealed during a drive check on your turn, for the rest of that turn, your rear guards can also perform drive checks for their attacks, thereby giving you the increased chances of getting triggers or to restock your hand of the additional drive checks. Alrighty, the Grade 0, Light Dragon DD Honors Amritonia, Overtrigger, we have 1 in the deck. Next, the Grade 0, White Fang Witch Disma, Critical Trigger, we have 4 in the deck. Next up, the Grade 0, Blade Feather Dragon, Critical Trigger. Skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Blade Feather, a powerful critical trigger to play in your Keter Sanctuary Nation decks with its skill, after boosting attack, regardless if the attack hits or not, as long as you don't mind moving Blade Feather from your rear guard to your soul, not only do you get to build up your soul for their soul blasting, but you can also give the remaining attackers in your field, Vanguard rear guard, a little extra power to work with. And okie dokie, the Grade 0, Blade Feather Dragon, Critical Trigger, we have 4 in the deck. Next up, the Grade 0, Protection Magic Parabi, Draw Trigger. Skill, continuous as a Guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Parabi, a powerful draw trigger to play in your Keter Sanctuary Nation decks with its skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, Parabi then can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield on her own. Affirmative, the Grade 0, Protection Magic Parabi, Draw Trigger, we have 3 in the deck. Next, the Grade 0, Invigorate Sage, Heal Trigger. Skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, if your opponent's attacking unit has attacked 2 or more times this turn, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. Activate if this battle is its second attack this turn or more. So for Invigorate Sage, a powerful heal trigger to play in your Keter Sanctuary Nation decks with its skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, Invigorate then can serve as a potential 25,000 point shield on his own. Ideally, Invigorate Sage is a counter heal, best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in restanding and attacking multiple times their units, Vanguard or Rearguard. Confirm, the Grade 0 Invigorate Sage heal trigger, we have 2 in the deck. And next, the Grade 0 Hardiness Tier Sorceress heal trigger. Skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if the attacking unit's critical is 2 or greater, and its critical is increased by a non-trigger effect ability, or its original critical is 2 or greater, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. So for Hardiness Tier Sorceress, another powerful heal trigger to play in your Keter Sanctuary Nation deck saver skill. When used to guard with, while the conditions of her skill are met, Hardiness Tier then can serve as a potential 25,000 point shield on her own. Ideally, Hardiness Tier Sorceress is a counter heal, best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in increasing their attacking unit's critical, Vanguard or Rearguard by skill or card effect. And alright, the Grade 0 Hardiness Tier Sorceress heal trigger, we have 2 in the deck. And at that, we just about covered the deck's trigger lineup. And with that, the deck's been built, card effects explained. For the cards in this deck, we are playing 4 Grade 3 Omniscience Regalia Minerva, 4 Grade 3 Regalia Wisdom Angelica, 1 Grade 3 Gradia Gradel, 4 Grade 2 Drilling Angel, 1 Grade 2 Atrocious Moth Girl Maple, 4 Grade 2 Witch of Ravens Chamomile, 3 Grade 2 Wisdom of Beginning that cleared the world, 3 Grade 1 Aegis Mare Dragon, 1 Grade 1 Elementary Sanitude, 4 Grade 1 Witch of Frogs Melissa, 4 Grade 1 Apple Witch Cider, 1 Grade 0 Vivid Rabbit starting unit. And for the triggers in this deck, we are playing 1 Over Trigger Amortonia, 8 critical triggers, 3 draw triggers, and 4 heal triggers. And alright, with that, the deck's been built, card effects explained. Now let's get on to testing out the deck, so let's get going. And here we are back in the main menu. We're gonna test out a deck, so go into fight menu. Go into CPU fight, selecting the deck I just showcased to you, the Keter Sanctuaries, Omniscience Regalia Minerva D-BT08 deck, selecting deck, choosing my opponent. The opponent I'm gonna test it out on, let's see, I guess I'll use it against this time, how about Masaru Kita, normal difficulty, and click. The battle begins, let's get started. Here we are in the fight, we're gonna decide who goes first, so rock, paper, scissors, shoot! Rock to rock one more time, rock, paper, scissors, shoot! Rock and scissors, I win going first. Drawing our starting hands, I got myself a Melissa, a heal trigger, a Chamomile, Persona Right, and critical trigger. Not a bad starting hands, holding on to all normal units. And also cards that can only be activated when they get Soul Charged and Soul Blasted, so putting Melissa, heal trigger, Chamomile, and Disma back to the deck, redraw. Not a bad redraw, perfect guard, cider, and drilling angel. Draw, I ride from the right deck, Witch of Frogs Melissa. Right deck cost, I am discarding the draw trigger for Robbie. Discard and ride, Melissa. And end of my turn, my opponent's turn. My opponent rides the Great 1, Deep Sonicer. Skill Sonicer, he soul charges. A Great 2, Key Grab. And start a skill, he drops a card. When the battle phase, 8k to 8k. No guard, can take it. He draw checks. No, perfect guard, that's a pretty lucky draw. 1 damage. Ow. Damage check. No trigger. No, Gradia Gradel, Persona Right card, come on. End of their turn, my turn. Stand and draw. I ride from the right deck, Witch of Ravens Chamomile. Right deck cost, I discard. I have 3 copies of Cider, discarding 1, and ride. Chamomile. Skill of Melissa. When written on top of, check the top cards of my deck to put into the soul. The top cards of my deck are... nothing good. Just add one order card, the rest goes back to the deck. Next, I call Drilling Angel to rear guard. Call. Angel skill, I move the drop zone Cider into Soul. Check the top cards of my deck. Nothing, shuffle again. Then I call 2 copies of Cider to the front and to the back. That ought to do it to the battle phase. First, Cider on the left attacks the Vanguard. 8k. The attack goes through, and boom! 1 damage. Damage check. Ah, critical trigger, come on! Ah, trigger the first damage of the turn! So lucky! Melissa the Vanguard, 10k, 1 trigger to pass. Come on, drive check. Yes! Critical trigger, just what I needed. I give all effects to Vanguard. 2 damage to opponent, here we go. And boom! Damage 1. Ah, come on, another trigger? Seriously? Now Drilling Angel can attack. So lucky. Second check. No trigger, yes, Persona Ride. Finally, something works out for me. End of my turn, my opponent's turn. My opponent rides to grade 2, Electro Spartan. He calls to the rear guard, Engraver, and Spartan. Spartan skill, he soul charges. Kigra and a bit, and a Curtis. Rear guard to Vanguard. I don't have anything left to guard with except a critical trigger, so skill is adding power. 28k. No guard, no choice, gotta take it. Ow! Damage check. Over trigger! I can't afford to lose any rear guards this early in the game, so I give it all to Drilling Angel. Drew another Cider, and skill of Engraver, he soul charges, another Engraver. Vanguard to Vanguard. No guard, gonna take it. Drive check. Oh, come on! Seriously? Over trigger? Now critical and 100 million power. Damage check first. No trigger. Persona Ride. No! Second check. Heal trigger. Can I heal? No, I can't heal. This is such bad luck. How does my opponent keep getting all the good cards? No guard. Ow. Damage check. No trigger. Chamomile. Come on. So unlucky this whole game. Stand and draw. I ride from the right deck. Omniscience Regalia Minerva. Right deck cost. I am discarding Cider, discard, and right, Minerva. Skill of Chamomile. Check the top cards of my deck to add to the soul. Searching. I add Chamomile and Melissa into the soul. Move Cider to the back row. And then I'm activating my Minerva skill. I Soul Blast Melissa. Preview the top card of my deck. It is Maple, so put it into Soul and Melissa skill. Superior Call to the back row. Superior Call. Soul Charge 1. I Soul Charged a Angelica. Nice. With Angelica in the Soul, I can get plus 5,000 power, so next I am going to call Drilling Angels to the rear guard. Angel skill, I move a card from drop zone to soul. I move Cider into soul. Nothing happens, and that should do it. Going to the battle phase. First, boosted by Cider on the left. Drilling Angel on the left attacks the rear guard Engraver. 23k, 10k. The attack goes through, and boom! One less rear guard to worry about. Cider skill, after boosting, back to hand. Boosted by Melissa. Minerva attacks the Vanguard. 26k. The attack goes through. Twin drive. First check. No trigger. Melissa. Second check. Yes! Critical trigger. Just what I needed. Critical to Vanguard. Power to the rear guard. Drilling. Critical up and power up. And boom! 2 damage. First. No trigger. Curtis. Second check. Ah, critical trigger, so lucky. He gives all effects to his Vanguard. And now boosted by Cider, Dueling Angel attacks the Vanguard, 33k. He guards with a heal trigger, 35k. The attack is blocked, and the attack fails. And that's the end of my turn. Hold on. Cider's skill goes back to hand, and now that's really the end of my turn. My opponent's turn. He rides the Grade 3, Master of Gravity, Barrel Magnus. He rides and criticals up. Thanks to the over trigger. He soul charge. A heal trigger, nice. He activates the order card, Supernatural Extraction. Soul charging. 1, 2, and 3. Yes, critical trigger out the deck. Battle phase, rearguard to Vanguard. 16k. No guard. Hold on. Skill the rearguard, adding power again. Total 26k. No guard, taking it. Out. Damage check. No trigger. Angelica. Now Barrel Magnus attacks the Vanguard. 23k. 2 crits. Skill of Barrel Magnus, pain cost and draw a card, adding power and critical to Vanguard. 33k, triple critical. I perfect guard with Aegis Mare Dragon. For the perfect guard cost, I am discarding Melissa. Discard 33k and first check. No trigger, Curtis, Grade 3, safe, and second check. No trigger, Persona Ride. It's a lucky draw for him. Ka-ching! And now one last attack from the rear guard, Electro Spartan. 10k to rear guard. Guard with Blade Feather Dragon, guard, 25k. The attack is blocked and ka-ching! Into my opponent's turn, my turn. Stand and draw. It's time to Persona Ride. Omniscience Regalia Minerva. Persona Ride! And power up, draw. Yes, perfect guard. Next, I activate my Minerva skill, Soul Blasting 1. I am Soul Blasting Melissa from... Hold on. Soul Blasting... I Soul Blast Atrocious Moth Girl Maple. Soul Blast, preview the top card of my deck. Angelica, move it to Soul, and I call to the rear guard. Cider, that ought to do it. Go into battle phase. Boosted by Cider on the right. Dueling Angel on the right attacks the Vanguard, 33k. He perfect guards. And perfect guard cost, he's discarding a critical trigger. The attack may have failed, but I still got a bunch more attacks on the way. Now, boosted by Melissa. Hold on, Cider skill goes back to the hand. Back to hand. And now boosted by Melissa. Minerva attacks the Vanguard, 36k. The attack goes through. Twin drive, first check. Yes, heal trigger. I give power to Vanguard and heal 1. I heal 1 and power up. Second check. Yes, draw trigger, double trigger. Giving power to the left side Dueling Angel and draw. 1 damage and boom! Damage check. No trigger, 6 damage. I win. That was a pretty alright fight. Despite some really bad luck with the triggers in the beginning of the game, I managed to get the cards I need to make this deck work. So I got win, double trigger, attack 40,000 more power, perfect guard, drew an over trigger, opponent drew an over trigger, did a Persona Ride, 6 turns passed, did a superior call, drew 3 more times in 1 turn, got 3,000 VP, total 331,225 VP. Pressing A to go next, leaving fight, returning to the fight menu. Back at the fight menu, leaving fight menu, going back to main menu. And here we are in the main menu to edit deck menu. With that, the deck's been built, card effects explained, and I just finished testing the deck out in front of you. So first I want to say is, thank you to the viewers for watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also hope you'll show support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that I say, goodbye, and see you all soon.